Hey everyone, welcome back to Camp Keyframe. In today's video I'm going to show you how you can texturize this scene in After Effects. So what we're going to do to this scene are two things. First we're going to add some grain and noise effects, and after that we're going to add some animated texture layers. So first off we're going to start with adding a floor. So I'm going to take my pen tool here and set the stroke to none. And the color can be this lamp, like brownish shade and a bit darker, I think. And I'm going to draw a really weird shape, maybe. Like, wait, I have to zoom out a bit. I'm going to make this shape here. And I'm going to go down here a little bit and then up. So that's a pretty weird shape for a floor, I know. Let's add some extra points here, so we can alter the shape a little bit. Something like that, okay. Then I'm going to go to layer, new, solid. Doesn't matter which color, just make it a comp size, okay, like that. And I'm going to turn off my shape layer 1. Let's call that floor, by the way. I'm going to turn that off for now. And this new layer which I made, I'm going to call it matte. I'm going to place that directly on the horizontal line where all the elements start. And I'm going to, no, sorry, I need to put that down here, of course. So, because what I'm going to do is make this floor layer only visible within this solid. So write that, open this one up, and I'm going to select my floor layer and go to track matte, none, alpha matte. And now it's only visible within this matte layer here. Put this all to none, lock that. And now we can alter the shape a little bit. So I'm gonna do this, make it a bit thinner. Okay, yeah. So then I'm going to go to Effect, Blur and Sharpen, and then a fast box blur. Put that on there and just turn it up a little bit, something like that should be fine. And then you can see that it starts creeping to the edges here. So I'm going to alter my shape again a little bit. So you can take this in a little bit. All right, then I'm going to add another effect. Go to Effect, Noise and Grain, Noise Alpha. And I'm going to put it on there, and I'm going to turn this amount up here. There you go. And there we already have our nice grainy floor layer. Maybe, let's see if I can turn this up even more. It gets more grainy. Now I think I like it like this, but I think the floor can be a bit less prominent. All right. Okay, that's great. And now I'm going to animate this grain, because when I play this back, nothing is happening, it's just standing still. But I want this grain to like move a little bit. So I'm going to go to my random seed here, and I'm going to, because what the seed does is if I move it, you can see it moving. It changes the position of the noise. So, but I can of course keyframe this and then just change the seed, but I'm going to use an expression for this. So Alt Option click on your little stopwatch here, and it will open the expressions box. And what I'm going to type in is posterize time, and it's already here. Press enter, posterize time, and then put a number in there. It's going to be 6, and that 6 stands for 6 frames a second. So this will mean that this random seed will move at 6 frames a second. I'm going to add a time times 500. So what this does is it gives us a nice little animation. Great. All right, we're done with that one. Really good. All right, nice. Let's see, let's go for the easy one first, the lamp. I'm not going to do something with the window, let's lock that. Open the lamp layer here. I'm going to do kind of the same thing here. I'm going to take this shape and I'm going to draw it like that. Okay, maybe move it up a little bit. And then I'm going to go back to my textures actually and go to my floor and just select both of these effects, copy them, and then go back to this. Let's call this grain. All right. And I'm going to duplicate this lamp. I have these layers. It's my lamp base and my lamp shade here. I'm going to press Command D to duplicate it, put it on top, and then call that matte. And this grain, I'm going to track matte it also to this alpha matte again. So now it's only visible within that little shape. And what I'm going to do as well is copy or parent both of these to my lamp and my lamp to my lamp base. So when I ever want to, if I'm going to animate this and I move my lamp here, and all of these will move right along with it. And if I move my lamp, then the grain is sticking to that little lamp. So this is also animated because I just copied the whole effect with the expression. So boom, it's done. Let's lock that lamp. And let's go into the couch here. Okay, I have this, let's see. I'm going to select this color here, make it a bit darker. And I'm going to make this very, very simple shape. Press Command V to paste those effects we made in earlier again. And let's call this one grain as well. Just call them all grain. And I have all these legs here. And I'm going to pre-compose them. So press Command Shift C or right click and pre-compose. Here it is. And let's call these legs. And turn it on. Put the grain above the legs. Duplicate those legs. Put them up here. And then call that matte. Grain will be again track matted into that. And we have little grain there. And let's parent them both to these legs. Same thing we're going to do with this shape, the side shape here. And let's give this the same blue color and then make it a bit darker. Boom. Paste that effect on there. And maybe, let's see how this looks. It's the side left. Duplicate that, call that matte. And put it above the side left and parent them both to them. And then do the same thing again here. And maybe what you can do is if you go to a grain and I can adjust the blur radius to make it a bit less or more intense. So let's make it a bit less intense for this purpose. And I'm going to duplicate this grain effect, turn off the alpha layer for a moment. And I'm going to place that over here and I'm going to go to side right. Where is it? Side right here. Let's call this just grain and duplicate the side right, put it above the grain and call it matte. Parent them both to the side right and go to my track matte again. So there you go. It's also grained up. And maybe give this couch a little grain too. Maybe just a little bigger shape here. Okay, the color of the couch and then a bit darker. Press Command V to copy those effects again. And we're going to call this again grain. Because if we learned anything from Ben Merritt, it's we always label our layers. Duplicate the back and alpha matte, put that back above the back and parent it to that. There you go. And I'm going to alter this a bit, well, make this the grain a bit, the blur a bit bigger, so it's a little more faded out. Okay, I like that. I think we need to make this then a little bit darker, so there's a little more difference between the back and the front. Okay, we're done with the couch with the grain for now. Let's go to the cabinet. Let's see, same things here. Yeah, let's make this shape like this. Oh, like this, I think. Yep. Color this one. Oh, that's the same one. Darker. And let's call this grain. And we go to the side here, put it on top. Duplicate it, call that matte. Alright, maybe a bit less intense. Yep. And then maybe give this some inside grain here in these doors here. So just a little inner shadow maybe would look nice. Something like this. Okay, and I'm gonna give this color here this. Make that a bit darker. Alright. Let's see, we have the door left and right here. Pre-compose, no, I'm just going to door left, duplicate it, put that up here, call that matte. And I'm going to alter the shape. And it's rectangle. I need to open it, contents, and it's group one, it's a rectangle path. I cannot alter this shape right now, I can only scale it. But I like to have more control, so right click on it, go to convert to Bezier path, and then I can alter these points now. And just drag them out here. Alright, grain matte as well. And then put that above our doors, and the handles will be on top. Okay, nice. I think that's a bit too intense, so we can also just turn down the opacity of a grain. Just take it down a notch, and maybe move it up a little bit like that. That looks nice. Okay, cabinet done. Plant. Let's go into this plant here. What I have here is a vase, this vase layer, and these leaves, they are pre-comped. I'll open them in a second. And in this one, we're going to add this grain effect as well. Just all of the same motions. Make it a bit darker, paste that effect on there, duplicate the vase, call it matte, call this grain, place them on top of here, parent them, and do the alpha matte. Boom! That's like lightning speed, guys. 100 miles an hour, but it's all the same, so I think it will be clear. Let's just don't add any grain to the leaves, because I think you guys get it. So that's there are some grain effects, so it's already looking a lot better. So now we're going to add some animated texture. So let's first start with the background texture, because we can also do that. I have some text imported here. I have this brush field. I bought this a while ago. You can find a lot of textures online, also for free. This is like a wood texture, which I bought somewhere in time. And then we have this, which I really like, this pearly, swirly paint texture, which is really cool. We have these lines, which are actually, I think you cannot see them. I have these lines here, and I'll put them in. And I've drawn these myself in Procreate on my iPad. And I will post a separate tutorial, I think, in the future about that. So these are some really crazy lines here. And then I have this dotted background thing here. So what I'm going to do first is turn off all of these layers, and we only have this background, and it's just a little beige light background. So we're going to add two textures to this. These dots here, these little lines, I think this is right, and this swirly paint texture. So first, with this this effect, what we're going to do is animate this as well. So going back to our first keyframe, or first point in time, and go to position, rotation, and scale, and give those all of three a keyframe. Then I'm going to move forward in time 4 frames, like 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's zoom in a bit here. So I'm 4 frames later. And what I'm going to do now is let's rotate this thing and put it up there. And actually the scale, we don't need that, I think. Let's just don't mind that. So no scale. 4 frames further again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's just put that one here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and maybe turn this around again, and put it there, 1, 2, 3, 4, and just make these little adjustments to the position and rotation of the shape, so it's all a bit more random. So like that. So now when I scroll through, it just moves like that, but I don't want it to animate in between. I want it to hold its position. So I'm going to select all of them, right click them, and go to toggle hold keyframe. And what it will now do, it will just only move to that position when it's on there. So now we have this movement going here, which is really nice, which is already an animated texture, but it stops here. What I can do is copy all of these keyframes and paste them all up until infinity. But I'm going to use an expression, of course. So I'm going to click on Option on this stopwatch here, and I'm going to type in loop out with a capital O, not a U, capital O, and loop out, and that's it. I'm going to copy that expression here and paste it over there, and then it's looping out. Be sure to actually copy the first frames at 1, 2, 3, 4 as the last one, so they don't get that weird ending there. So there we have our animated texture, which is going on forever. Now we're going to turn that off as well. No, actually we're going to duplicate it. Duplicate, turn off this layer. So now we have this, and now we're going to add this effect here, this swirly paint texture. I'm going to hold Option while this is selected. I'm going to hold Option and click and drag and just drop it on here. So now it replaces that layer with this texture, but all of the animation is still in there. So this has the same animation. Of course, this was a little bit smaller image, so I'm going to turn up the scale here on each of these keyframes and just maybe the position a little bit. So just alter that a little bit. Oh, the scale is of course not keyframed, so it won't move, but so just make it big enough so it will fill the whole screen on every frame like that. That's great. Okay, so now we have this texture here as well. So that was really easy. All right, open this one up, put that above it, I think. And now we're going to play with layer styles. So I have these 3 layers right now. Let's just turn this one off here. And this back layer, we can go to layer styles and we can add different layer styles here, which will create different effects. So if I turn it on multiply, nothing really happens with this one. Darken it, gets a little bit something. I think color burn would work best here. Yeah, then it would go a little bit less intense, and it is a nice little subtle, more of a subtle texture like that. Yeah, I like that. And then this one, I think we're going to put this at multiply, and then put the opacity way down to like 10%. Yeah, there you go. That's a nice effect. I like that. That's my background. There you go. Select all of these, press Command Shift C, and I'm going to call this animated background. Right, that. Turn all of this on, and then you can see that this thing is. Oh, I need this turned off, of course. The background floor mat. So this is my animated texture right now. It looks a little bit intense on the paint texture, so I'm going to open it up and go into the opacity here and turn that to 5. Or maybe try a color burn here as well. How will that look? Oh yeah, I think that's nice. It gives a little bit of this orange feeling. Maybe that's better. No, let's make it multiply and just put this at 5. I think I'm going to actually change this and make it a little bit more saturated. Yeah, nice. I really like that. So now we have this nice animated texture. I think this now is also too intense, this little grain effect. So I'm gonna put that at like 50%, I guess. Is that better? Yeah, it's better. So we're done with that. So now this looks a whole lot more interesting. Like the grain, all the grains are animating, the background is animating, but now we're going to add some more effects to all of these different elements, some more animated effects, textures. So let's first go into my my cabinet, right there, and I have this different one here. I'm going to go back again, by the way, to my animated background. I'm going to copy this paint texture, press Command C, go into my cabinet and press Command V, and as you can see, let's put multiply off here to normal, and then I have this animated texture and put the it's back here again. So I'm going to do the same trick as I did before, but now I'm going to add this wood layer panel thingy while holding Option and dragging it on there. So now I have this, oh, it's really big. So let's scale that one down a whole lot, like that, maybe even smaller, because we only need it on this little cabinet side shape here. So I'm going to open position, zoom in a little bit here. I'm going to stand on one of my position keyframes, doesn't matter which one, just stand on it with your cursor, and then select all of them, and then I can move this whole thing, and all of these keyframes move along with it. So if I just add it here and I just place it over here, it adds a new keyframe, which I do not want. So just place it on there, just make it a bit smaller even, and just make sure to select all of them and then move it. Let's see, yeah, and what I want to do right now is make sure that it's visible on this side shape here, and it's all of the keyframes are visible on that. So I'm going to go to my side here, and I have this grain effect. I want this to be below my grain effect. So the side I'm going to duplicate first, call that matte again, and put my texture under there, and I'm going to go to my alpha matte and select these, parent them again to the side, and there you see my texture, but it is still, I need to put it on multiply, and there we have our nice wooden texture side thingy, which looks really cool. So if we go back here, then we already also have this little thing moving there. Really nice. Maybe also put it on the cabinets, yeah, on the doors. So we're going to our door left. I made a mat for this, which was bigger, yeah, that one. So we're going to duplicate this and put it on top, and just put the alpha layer off for a second. And I have this matte layer here from this doors. So I'm going to duplicate that again and put it above here, call it matte. And let's see, this one needs to now be into on the right position. Place it down a bit further. Yeah, like that. And I'm going to go to non-alpha matte. So there you go. It's a bit heavy for me, so I'm going to put the opacity down to maybe 50. No, even more, let's say 30. And the grain is actually the same as this one, so they're both moving at the exact same. I'm going to place this a bit earlier in time, so now the keyframes aren't aligned and now there's a bit more random stuff going on. So that looks nice. So now we have our cabinet animated textured. Let's go into our lamp, do the same thing there. I'm going to use a different texture here. Let's say this one. Nice. So I'm going to copy this layer here, place it there, put the alpha off, zoom in to position, go there, and I'm going to do the same thing again here, just make it this. That's a little bit smaller. There's like this little paint, charcoal paint texture. Now we have to actually move these position keyframes because now it's going way too crazy. But this is a smaller shape, so just make sure that you don't have this, so the texture is kind of cut off at the half or something. That looks doesn't look right. Okay, nice. That's it. Really nice. And I'm going to duplicate this lamp, call it matte and alpha matte, and this can also be like maybe 10%. That's enough. Nice. So our lamp is done as well. Let's go into our plants for a second. Let's go. Yeah, and let's go inside. I have these leaves and they are masked within this mat here, which is just this little shape, but then larger, so that all the plants fit in the leaves. So I'm going to do the same thing again here. Copy. Let's see. I think I want to have the swirly texture. Yeah, this one. Place that on there. Let's see. I'm going to turn off. Put on this. Yeah. Let's see how this looks. It's way too big, of course. And let's put the scale down for a sec. Put it here, and I need to make sure that it covers all of the leaves at once. So let's just check if that's true now. No, that's not. Yeah, that's good. That is good. A bit down here. That's good. That's good. And that is good. All right. So now it covers all of the leaves. Let's see. I'm going to put it on top of leaf 1. Duplicate it. Put it on top of leaf 4, leaf 3, and leaf 2. And then I'm going to duplicate a whole lot. Duplicate leaf 1 again. Put it on top. Call it matte. And do the same thing with leaf 4. Put it on top. And the same thing there. Oh, whoops, what did I do? I wasn't looking. Leaf 3. Oh, leaf 2. I need to do this one and call that matte. Yeah. Okay, and now I'm going to go to my effects here, or to track matte. Go put all of them on alpha matte. So now they're all inside those layers. And now the same thing I'm going to do what I did earlier, just to offset them in time a little bit. So I'm going to put this one there, this one a little bit there, and this one there. Right, so now they're not moving at the same speed. And I'm going to put the texture way down to like 10%. No, maybe 20? Or the opacity, I mean, I'm sorry. Let's see how that looks. Opacity at 20. How does it look? Looks nice. Maybe 30? Yeah, let's do 2 of them at 30. Maybe that looks nice. Okay, very cool. So that looks great already. And now let's go into the couch. There you go. And let's add this loopy lines. So I've created this thing, as I said earlier, in Procreate on my iPad. Let's just scale it down so you can see it a bit better. These are just some drawn, oh, that's really bad. Some drawn lines with a transparent background. So only these dark lines will be visible on this texture. So that's a nice effect. Let's just scale this back up here. Put it above here. And I'm going to do the same thing. Let's just make this thing again from scratch. So zoom in a bit here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Some weird looking texture on this couch, which kind of fits nicely. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, something like that. Just the more keyframes you add, the more random it gets, but this is enough. Hold keyframe, and then the loop out expression again. Loop out, and what loop out does is that it loops your after all your keyframes are done, then it starts repeating those. What I did not do is copy the first two. So when I move my keyframes over here, here nothing happens, then it starts moving and then it's looping out. If I make this loop in, then everything will be looping until my keyframes are done playing and then it stops looping. But I want to loop out right now, put it at the front. So that's why you need to put this at the front, so that's not like standing still before. Nice, let's make this multiply, I think, and put that like way down. I think this should be fine. And then put that at the back here, below the grain, I think, yeah, below the grain. Duplicate the back, call this matte, and parent them both just to be sure, and alpha matte, there you go. So now that thing is visible only within that shape. And I think we can add like this, but I have more, yeah, maybe this swirly paint texture again to the front of this couch here. So let's go back to my plants, to my leaves, copy that one. Let's see, on the couch here. Let's check all of them. More. If they're all covering the whole area, they are. And that's the front. Let's see where it is. Front, front, front. Front right there. Put it above. Duplicate it. Call it matte. Turn off and on the alpha. Like that. Let's make this a bit less intense maybe. Nice. So I think that's it. I think that is. Nice. So there you go. I think the thing on the couch, by the way, is a bit too much because it's so it's such a heavy effect. Let's just make this 10%. Yeah, that's better. So yeah, there you go. That's a nice animated scene for you with all of these grain effects. You can of course make this as intense as you want. I'm going into my plant, my leaves again, and turn all of these to 10%. When I just look at it now, it's a bit too much. So yeah, just do this however you like to do this. It's a really cool way to create some more life to your animations, and just make sure to put the expression on the random seed on your noise alpha for the noises, so they also move, because if they're standing still, it's a bit less interesting. So just make sure to do that. And yeah, you can find a lot of textures online. Just Google for wood texture, swirly paint texture, and make sure to always make them black and white first in Photoshop or something. That works best. Or if you want to go for a different effect, of course, you can use colored stuff. What's also really cool, what you can also do is for a really nice effect, if I go into this lamp here, no, not the lamp, let's see, where in my cabinet, where's my cabinet here, and I go in the side, this one. If I just turn this multiply back to normal, we can turn off the grain for a second there, this one. We get this really weird like wood texture on the side, which could also look really cool in some animations. It just needs to fit your style, of course, but it could also be a really cool element. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you liked this. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions about this at all, don't hesitate to ask me in the comments. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you like it, or even please consider subscribing to this channel if you aren't already. And yeah, thanks for watching, and hope to see you in the next tutorial on Camp Keyframe. Thanks, bye bye.